Hi, everybody. This is Jerry Serino again from the Median Podcast. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here as always. Please go to Cleveland Right to Life on social media, and also please all the podcast apps and everything. I would appreciate if you liked and followed us and shared the show with everybody as we want to share our great guests and our great topics with as many people as possible. My guest today is Amber Adames. You're gonna find her interesting. I hope you do because I did, which is why I asked her to come on. She's in the state of Colorado, which is been in the news for years now. Kind of a changing state, and it certainly has gone very, very left with a lot that's going on there. So being a conservative in Colorado is tough, especially if you don't look like a conservative. And that's Amber, and we're laughing because it's actually quite true. So I'm gonna just start. Amber, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I appreciate it. Okay, so the reason that I'm joking and laughing and she is as well is on video here you can see that Amber is full of tattoos. I mean, she is tatted out, right? I mean, like seriously. And it's not me, she has this as her on Instagram. She refers to herself as inked and proudly patriotic. So but you take a look at you, Amber. Honestly, like if I saw you, somewhere, I'd be like, she was probably just at a No Kings rally, right? I mean, that would be the case, and yet here you are, very conservative. So let's start with the basics. Tell me a little bit about you.
I am I'm married. I have two bonus children and another child. I have a couple grandkids, and I am actually raising one of my special needs granddaughters. She's going to be 8 in December. And I've always been conservative. I grew up in
Okay.
Kansas, northwest corner of Kansas, and grew up on a farm. I know I do not look um like a farm person, but I really
Yeah.
am. My husband's a tattoo artist, so I have spent many a years getting ink because I enjoy it, and so that is why I look the way that I do.
Yeah. No, and it's very cool. So thanks for sharing a little bit of that. You said you were always conservative.
Mhm.
Tell me about where that comes from. Was that your upbringing? Was that just
My
your did
upbringing.
you yeah, so tell me about that.
Like I grew up in the northwest corner. I grew up on a farm. We had a farm and ranch. Both of my parents are conservatives. Their parents are conservatives. We live in a very rural town. And so like that is just what is instilled. We were Christians. I was brought up Lutheran. And so like I just grew up in a very, very conservative area. And I'm
Okay.
very thankful for it. I am
Yeah.
so very thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all are. Like we all owe that. Many of us owe it to our parents and our family, around us as well. I certainly do. Yeah, and we're great. I'm grateful. So getting into what you're doing now, social media is I always say I have a love-hate relationship with it, right? I mean, there's good, there's bad, but we as conservatives, we really do need to use it, and it gives us a voice, right?
Yes.
15, 20 years ago, I would have no voice unless I got hired at a radio station, right? Which would be
Exactly.
almost impossible. And you wouldn't be able to share your views. So tell me about what caused you to be sort of vocal. Were you always like this and this platform gave you that, or what?
Yes, I mean, I've always been very vocal about all of my conservative values, but and I always have been like on my personal social media. I have a personal My Facebook has gotten way bigger because I've opened it up to the public. I think I started off like in January, it was 800 people, and now I'm up to like 19,000. But I opened that up. But I've always been very vocal about my conservative values. And then I about a year ago, I recently got involved with a bunch of conservative women, and we all belong to a conservative store. And I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to. So I created this account probably about a year ago in
Okay.
February, I think. And I never imagined it to be what it is today.
Yeah.
But I've always been very loud. I mean, as you can see from my looks and stuff, I've never been one to care about what people think about me, or I've been very, I pretty much say what's on my mind when
Yeah.
when it's there. So
Yeah. No, it's great. I've admit, as I said, there would be a bias for me if I saw you somewhere. But since doing my show, and I've been doing this, I had my own show. I've met and interviewed tons of phenomenal people, and in some cases, they are fully tatted. I mean, they're and again,
suited.
I what's that?
I'm suited. I go all the way from on my
Yeah.
head all the way down to I mean to my feet.
Everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere, yeah, and I think this episode is probably gonna get the most views on Rumble, because everyone listening who are gonna go, "I gotta see her," and you look very nice, by the way,
Thank
just so people don't think, you look very nice, but you have 83,000 followers on
you.
Instagram, which is amazing, and, that doesn't come with just, and there's nothing in here, you're not, like, out doing outrageous things on here, like
No.
some people will have risque,
Yeah, and I don't
stuff.
I am, like, so against it. You can get your message across by being and me personally, like, I am a happily married woman. I make that very known, but my body is for my husband, so that's the reason. I mean, and plus I like being comfortable. I am a
Mhm.
jeans and or, leggings, whatever type of person, but I believe that, you don't have to show everything that you have to the whole entire world.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because I actually just unfollowed someone because, I had must have followed them for something great that I saw, and then I just recently came across they were, in not the best
Yeah,
light, and I'm like, "Out of here. You're not who you say you are if you're doing that kind of stuff."
you're making
But
people stumble. And as a
yeah.
Christian and as a Christian woman, I do not want to make other people stumble. I don't want to make men
Mhm.
stumble. I don't want women to feel insecure. And so I am very secure in the way that I look, whether I have my face done up, which most of the time I don't even put makeup on. I am who I am. But if I can be an example to younger women who are out there on social media, if I could let it be known that show up as you are, you do not have to take your clothes off, you do not have to dress provocatively, you don't have to do these things to get your message across.
Yeah. No, very well said. So then tell me a little bit about the whole tattoo thing. I mean, I've seen, million people with some tattoos, whatever.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, I mean, was it just something when did you get your first one? Let me ask that.
I think I was 18 when I got my first one. I
Okay.
had maybe 4 or 5 tattoos when I met my husband. I had a piece in memory. I lost my brother. He was only 22 years old when he was killed in the car accident,
Mhm.
and I had a couple others. I mean, I went through, and I'm very open about my past life. I have a very checkered past, and so I mean, the tattoo, a lot of my tattoos, they may have no meaning. Some of them do have meaning. But sometimes it, like in the beginning, it definitely helped with a lot of the trauma that I dealt with as a younger person and some of the things that I went through. But also, I have always been loud, not necessarily loud, but loud and proud about. So it's just something to decorate my temple with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, no worries. So, I won't ask you to talk about things that you don't want to. I'm not aware of any of that or anything, and that's
Oh, it's
okay.
on my page. So if people want
Oh,
to
is
know,
it?
they're more than welcome. Yeah, I've been 20 years sober.
Okay.
I've gotten my record completely cleaned up and hoping someday to like restore my rights. But I got in trouble when I was younger, and if there's anything that I can do by sharing, like I'm not one to hide. And I knew it was going to come out because I have liberals on my page that absolutely, and people who know me who are
Yeah.
liberals that absolutely had an issue with me being a conservative content creator. So they really tried to go out of their way to like ruin my life by trying to get me fired from my job and my nursing license. I'm a CNA for my special needs granddaughter. They tried to get that taken away from me.
Mm.
So I'm very open about I mean, it's who I am. It's made me who I am today and why I can carry on the way that I can carry on.
Yeah, great. Well, it's interesting how the leftists are judging you
Yeah.
quite harshly, right? Aren't they the ones telling us that we shouldn't judge and live and let be, right? And love is love and all that kind of stuff.
As
And
long as
it's
you believe what they do, then
yeah,
we're fine. But as soon as
yeah,
you have a difference of opinion and you say you're a conservative woman and you look the way that I do, I mean, they call me transgender all the time. And I'm like, I thought you guys were for that. Like now you're using it as an insult.
as an insult, right, right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, right.
I get it all the time.
Yeah, interesting. So do you have tell me about your Christian values. So it looks like you kind of went off the rails, which a lot of people do at a young age.
Yep, I
Um,
did.
yeah,
I was
certainly.
struggling.
When did you said you had good upbringing, but then you, again, as I said, you got into some trouble.
Yep.
When and how did you come back? Was it due to your Christianity? Was there a person involved?
I've always known the Lord, but when I was going through those dark times, it wasn't that I necessarily walked away from my faith, but probably back in 2010, was it 2010? I met my husband, and we were married 3 months later, and we got into the church, and I was already attending church, but I wasn't really
Mhm.
happy where I was at. Got really involved in our church, and it was a pretty done deal. I have struggled with my faith somewhat, especially having a daughter who's on the wayward path, and we're raising her daughter. So
Mhm.
I mean, I've struggled in my faith, and then I lost my mom last year in March. But that was something I always was worried about, like losing my parents, what it was going to do to me in that sense. But it actually has really reeled me in, and I'm closer with the Lord now than I ever have been. So.
Yeah. When you say you're closer with the Lord, just describe that to me. Like, what does that look like to you on a daily basis?
Well, I mean, now, first thing when I wake up in the morning, I dive into His Word. I read at least a chapter of the Bible every single morning. I think I'm in Philippians right now. I've almost made it through the whole New Testament
Mhm.
since November of last year. And then I also have a couple different devotions that I read. And I have one that's really awesome. It like will give you a verse, and then you go into the devotions, and then it gives you a prayer. So it kind of is helping strengthen my faith, because that's what I'm focusing on right now is my faith, because I know that my dad is getting older, and I am going
Mhm.
to probably I'm going to have to go through this again, and having a daughter on the wayward path, it's really helping strengthen me so that I can be prepared for whatever is coming my way. But I start my day with my devotions and His Word.
Gotcha. Do you have any sort of favorite biblical individuals from the Bible that you maybe kind of feel like you relate to, or you really really love reading about? Old Testament, New Testament, anything like that?
Um, I don't know that I have a favorite person, but I do have a favorite verse, and it's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So
Hmm.
that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite verses.
Now, you said you got involved in your church, have you faced any kind of I don't want to say backlash, but any kind of judgment from fellow conservatives, especially at church, anything like that?
No, they actually, like a lot of times, because people know that I'm here in Colorado Springs. Like last Sunday, I posted that we were at Easter service, and one of my followers hit me up. It's like, "Hey, do you go to Rocky Mountain Calvary?" And I was like, "I sure do." And so I constantly have people who are like, "Hey, aren't you on? I follow you on social media."
Mm,
So I haven't really gotten any hate. My pastor knows that I'm a conservative creator. He doesn't pay a lot of attention on social media, but he does know that, I am in the fight. And a lot of people from my church, I haven't gotten any backlash.
okay,
So,
yeah, that's great. No, that's excellent. And you know what? It's actually not really surprising, to be honest. I think we're, as Christian conservatives, we're actually very, very open and open-minded, right? Even though we would be accused of the opposite. Um, so I want to ask you about, so when we call ourselves conservative, I'm a conservative, right? There are lots of aspects of that, I
mhm.
guess. And some people are, if you said, what are your top three issues? People are going to have different things. So what would you say are the top three things that are
Only
most
the top
important to you?
three.
Well, yeah, well, we have like 10 minutes, so or 5 so
So some
tell
of
me.
my top issues
Yeah.
are marriages between a man and a woman. Leave our kids alone. They were born in the bodies that God created them, so leave them alone.
Mhm.
And let's see, I'm trying to think of what else. Put me on the spot there. And leave our unborn alone. They are pushing so hard to get rid of these precious lives. So I think those are probably my top three are
Mhm.
that I'm pretty passionate about.
Great.
I would say.
No, that's great. I was actually, listening to, the interview with, Tucker Carlson was interviewing an exorcist, and it seems
Oh
like
wow.
there's been a lot of these exorcists have been going on a lot of these shows for some reason, and, anyways, he was on and he was talking about how the demons love abortion.
Oh
They
yeah.
love child
It's
sacrifice.
sacrifice. It's a child sacrifice. Yep. It,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah. And it was really eye opening. Not that it's shocked me. I mean, of course, it's horribly evil. So, of course, Satan would love it. A mother killing their own baby in a
Yeah.
brutal, painful way
Yep.
that has to make hell rejoice, right? I guess. But, um, so I'm looking, I can see in the background, and if you follow Amber, you're going to see all her great posts and everything. But in the background of the video here, I see a MAGA book. I see Trump. You are big on Trump.
Mhm.
Tell me about Trump, that and the whole MAGA that makes you're smiling like crazy now. Not that you weren't before, but like when I brought up Trump. So tell me about Trump and what is.
I absolutely love Trump, and I have for the longest of times, even as a younger adult, and him and his like seeing him on TV. And I mean, I am kind of the same way as Trump. I say what's on my mind. Sometimes it's unfiltered. A lot of times it's unfiltered. I'm trying to get a little bit better about that on social media because I'm not trying to lose my account. And we
Mhm.
still are kind of censored on social media. There are a lot of conservatives that are losing their accounts. So I am trying to be as best as I can on my P's and Q's so I don't have to start over. But I have always, really just really liked Trump and his loud, boisterous self. And he's not a politician. And I love the fact that he's not scared to say what is on his mind.
Yeah.
Whether or not people agree with it, whether or not it's on Easter, whether or not whenever it is, he says what he means. He does not falter and he does not play around. And I think that's exactly what we need here in America to get past all of this deep state everything that's going on. I know that he has a plan, and a lot of people are like, well, why isn't he doing this and why isn't he doing that? He's playing chess and he knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
So I think he's a very, very intelligent man.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah, it is interesting because he's definitely, the way he talks. You mentioned his Easter statement on Iran, and I get it. Like if people, it's not your way of speaking. I get it. I could understand my mom going, I don't know, right? Fair enough, but is it, like it drives me crazy when some of those never Trumpers years ago were like, oh, they live conservative their whole lives, conservative commentators, writers, and then because they don't like Trump, they vote for Hillary. Well, then you were never conservative,
you were never a conservative. And
right?
honestly, we lived through 4 years. I mean, we listened to Obama and all of his hateful rhetoric. We listened to Joe Biden call us all garbage and trash
Hmm.
and whatever else not. And the way we couldn't even understand what he was saying. So like we went through all of that and we spoke up about it, but we never did what the liberals are doing. We never felt like we had to burn city down or have
Hmm.
these like gigantic protests. We said what the issue was. If we felt like we would stop spending our money, and that's what I'm huge on, and that's what I teach people to do. That's what I'm really passionate about, and that's why I started my account. Is I believe as conservatives, why are we still shopping at Walmart? Why are we still shopping at Target? Why are we still shopping at like places like Amazon that don't support America? They support Black Lives Matters. They support all of these agendas. They fund abortions for their employees and all of this stuff. So I belong to a conservative store. It's 41 years old. We have all the same products like as Walmart, Target, and all of that. And I teach conservatives how to spend their money wiser, and the products are cleaner. You don't have to worry about them being owned by the 12 big, huge companies like Procter and Gamble and all of those, because those guys don't care about you. And
Hmm.
as soon as they, like you might have some clean brand like Myers or something like that, and they eventually sell out to these big brands. So I teach conservatives how to vote with their dollars. And I think it's really important that we do that, because if you're continuing to spend all your money in all these places, like we boycotted Bud Light
Hmm.
because of what they did with Dylan, I think it was Dylan Mulvaney or whatever.
Mulvaney, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all of these companies. And so I'm really big on that. And that's what we do as conservatives. We quit putting our money into these companies.
Hmm.
Whereas the liberals, what they do is they will burn cities to the ground and they'll go out and protest and think that they're doing something, and they're doing absolutely nothing but being loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, very, very well put. And I agree. I've actually had encouraged the people lately to shop conservative, right? Know where you're buying. We all need coffee. So how about a conservative or pro-life coffee company, right? We all need all these things. Why not go to a good place and do that? So that leads us in. I mean, we're getting close to the end of the time, which always amazes me, but it tells me how good of a conversation it is when the time flies. But if you can share with everybody specifically, and everything will be on the website,
yeah.
how to connect with Amber and all your stuff, but share with everyone how they can find you on social media.
So I am on pretty much all the platforms. On Instagram, you can find me Colorado Conservative Mama, just like what is up on the screen. On TikTok, I am Colorado Conservative Mama. Mama is spelled just a little bit different because they only allow you so many characters. On Facebook, you can find me Amber Adamas, same Colorado Conservative Mama. And I forget what my X is, but I'm not super I don't know, I'm still learning X and
Yeah.
trying to grow an audience there, but mainly it's Instagram and Facebook.
Yep. Okay. Well, I found you on Instagram, I believe. Um, Yeah. So Amber Adamas, thank you so much for coming on. I love that you kind of shatter the stereotype, as I said, with the tattoos. I love your Christian conservative values. They're so important, and I'm grateful, for you coming on and sharing a little bit of your story, which was a little bit personal, and I know that that can be difficult, but it is also helpful to people that might be listening and are going through something themselves. So, uh,
Absolutely.
Amber Adames, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, my pleasure. And thank all of you for listening to this episode of From the Median podcast. We will see you next time.